Hey everyone, today I want to talk about agent skills. I want to talk about what they are, why they matter, and how to build one. So, what is a skill? A skill is a packaged set of instructions and context that lets an AI agent complete a task with minimal ambiguity, with repeatability, and with precision. So, the definition was quite abstract. So, let me take a very real world example that I'm very familiar with. And I'm going to call the skill the biryani grocery shopping skill for husbands. Okay. Normally, when my wife asks me to go grocery shopping for the week, she will say something like, buy vegetables for the week. And I will go. I know what to buy. Bread, milk, yogurt, vegetables, fruits, things like that. And I'll improvise sometimes if I see something new or on sale. I'll buy it, and sometimes I forget. I'll miss some items, but that's okay. So a regular prompt is something like that. Um, but when she, uh, has a guest coming over, and she's planning to do a um, very specific dish, she will at that time she'll give me a precise list for guest dinner. So she will usually write down, let's say she's making veg biryani, she'll say, I want basmati rice, and I want um, these vegetables, and I want paneer, which is cheese, and spices, and um, and then regular things like yogurt, mint, and things like that. Not only that, she'll also write where I should get those specific items from, because the farmers market has fresh vegetables, and spices are fresher in a particular grocery store, and so on and so forth. I've seen my mom do it, my wife does it. I suspect many women do this. um, Not just that, if she wants a specific brand of spice, she will actually send me a picture of that, because she would have taken a picture of that when she bought that spice, and she would send that to me as a separate text message, and say that I want you to buy these things. I want you to buy these things from this specific store, and I want you to buy this particular brand of saffron. This is so what she's essentially giving me is a package of instructions plus references that I need to very strictly follow. And because this is an important event, we are inviting some guests and she's making her favorite dish, every ingredient matters, and I will precisely follow that instruction that she has given me. What she's essentially done is she's given me a skill called the biryani grocery shopping skill. And in this case, I'm the person that's executing that skill. This is how LLMs function when you give them a loose prompt, or a fairly open prompt, versus a very precise skill with specific instructions, assets, and even you can even have scripts like small programs running. For example, to go fetch a file from this particular location, check this particular thing, and so on. So that is the that's the power of a very specific skill. Why is this important for in the enterprise setting? So why should product managers care? Because product managers should care, because skills turn AI features which are probabilistic to into very very deterministic product capabilities. For example, if your customer, if you, let's say you're creating a document using an LLM or an AI capability, and your customer says, I want the logo to be precisely 10 pixels from the top, or I want this particular calculation or the result of that calculation to have precisely these many decimals. You don't have to just vibe, or you don't have to just write a prompt and hope that the LLM gets it right. you can actually define it as a skill and make sure that the LLM strictly adheres to that particular skill. The idea of an agent skill, which Anthropic pioneered and which is becoming a standard uh, quite so quite rapidly, is a relatively new thing. The LLM providers, model providers, are also recognizing that to become successful in an enterprise, to go to a CFO and say that an LLM can help her close her books, or to go to a compliance officer and say we can build an AI application that will always that he or she can always rely on, requires precision, and skills provide that precision. And this, it's evolving, and the skills are allowing us to combine both the creativity and the probabilistic outcome of LLMs with the precision required for enterprise software applications, particularly in regulated industries, or in fields where precision is an absolute must. So, for example, in a customer service scenario, without if a AI agent is processing a refund without a skill, the responses may vary by what phrases the customer used. The agent might improvise policies even when you ground them on specific documents. There could be high escalation risk, and because you will be packing so many instructions in one prompt, there is a chance that the agent may not execute that prompt faithfully. However, when you define it as a skill, the agent will follow the skill very, very precisely, because the agent understands that when when something is defined as a skill, it has to follow those things very, very precisely. I mean, this is how the foundational model providers have designed the skill, and I've used it, and so far it is working as expected. And we'll see a demo pretty soon. So again, and for product designers, why should product designers care about skills? Because product designers who want very precise control over layout rules, grids, spacing, logo sizing, that AI must respect and not ignore, will benefit a lot from skills. Similarly for typography, lock in font families, weights, and line heights for brand consistency. Interactions, specific hover behaviors, loading states, error handling patterns, everything can be defined in a skill. It may not be quite your design system, but it can be very specific. And there are advanced features. Within a skill, you can connect your Figma design system uh, via an MCP. So you can do a lot of advanced things. So skills matter a lot for product designers. And a product designer who learns how to define a skill and understands the concept of skill will be way more valuable than someone who does not know how to do it. Product designers care about pixel level repeatability. There is no more creative interpretation from the model, and using skills, you can control the outcome as precisely as you control your screen using, while you design your screen using Figma. So the structure required for a skill looks something like this. There will be an instructions file, the skill.md file. Think of that as the grocery list that my wife gave me, not just a list but also with some instructions about where to buy a particular thing and so on. And then The reference image could be logo files, layout examples, brand benchmarks, template files, and things like that. And the in the grocery example, the image of the particular brand that I should buy, that's a good context. Similarly, there can be additional Python scripts, additional images, documents that can be attached here. That entire package is called the skill, and it is simply stored in a file system. So it's a collection of files, which means if you define and develop a skill, you can give that collection of files to another colleague who's using an LLM, and that colleague can use that skill. All they have to do, if they're using Claude Code, for example, is to place it in a specific folder, and they can access it. If you are building a tool within your company that uses multiple skills, which is what my engineering colleagues have done, and we use skills this way, is that internal tool uses standard skills. And anyone who's using that tool to create AI artifacts will automatically use those skills, and they will produce consistent results. So let's go look at a quick demo of how to run a skill from Claude Code. I'm using Claude Code, and observe consistent styled output, and then prompt. How can you create a skill using prompt? You can manually create a skill as well. Like, you can open a text file and create that markdown file. But you can also ask Claude to create a new skill, and then we'll see how that whole thing works. So here, what I've done is I've created a skill called PowerPoint. The name of the skill is create PPT with logo .md, and there is a logo file. I've attached a logo file called Dragon Data, and this particular skill is create PowerPoint with logo. I created it using Claude, and so if I have to create a presentation, let's say I'm a marketing manager, I'm creating a presentation. All I have to do is provide the content to Claude and say create PowerPoint presentation, use PPT using um, create PPT with logo skill. I'm being very specific here, but you don't have to be. In many cases, Claude will automatically identify that um, you are creating a PowerPoint, and will automatically pick up that skill. So it will go ahead and create a file, and that file will look something like this. So it automatically picked the logo from there, and then this is obviously a simplistic presentation. You can be far more sophisticated and precise, and it'll always do this. For example, I can control the font, control the position, control the um, the size of the file, size of the font, size of the text, and so on. So going back to Claude, now again, while Claude is working on it, I want to point out that this is not the same as vibe coding. This skill, or the ability to create skills and use skills, is quite sophisticated. It is not for someone who doesn't want to go through the minute details. It is not for someone who does not understand the domain very well. For example, if you are creating a skill that is about design and visual design, you have to have the domain knowledge. In fact, you should be a very, very experienced designer who is directing or creating the skill at a very sophisticated level. Similarly, if you are a product manager who is creating a skill about a particular, say, domain, for example, how to calculate a certain in a certain policy in a particular area, you are a product manager and domain expert who understands that area really, really well, or you work with a domain expert who understands that area really, really well. So this is not for beginners. This is for those enterprise product managers and product designers who want to create ultimate precision for their customers, and uh, and repeatable and reliable products and trustworthy products for their customers. So here it says that it has created the Dragon Data Advantage with logo on the top left corner. So now I'm going to modify the skill. We can also create a skill, but I'm just going to modify the skill to show how things might work. So here the logo appears on the right side, with some space on the right and left. Now I want the logo to appear here consistently, and I want to modify the skill that way, and this is how you do it. You can simply ask Claude to modify the skill. Say, okay, modify the create PPT with logo skill. The logo on the title page should appear on the right top corner, 50 pixels from the top. Okay. So as I said, this is not for someone who wants to just wipe code and let the LLM decide how to do things. No, this is not for people like that. This is for product managers and designers who want very very precise control, and who are willing and able to go to that level of detail. It is not for the faint-hearted. But those who are willing and able to do it will be very very valuable for the industry, and the companies that have such people will create enormous value for their customers. Now let's run this one, and while it is running, I also want to talk about something else. um, the the opportunity in the market today is that skills are the missing layer in enterprise AI. Without very precise skills, enterprise software will not be successful. It won't be reliable, and hence it will not be successful. Um, but and so vendors who ship AI with ready to use skills in for a particular domain, maybe even skills that are specific to a customer, will win enterprise adoption. For product managers and designers, and engineers as well, the opportunity is that those who can build standard skills and customer specific skills will be in massive demand and create an outsized impact in their company and for their customers. Unfortunately, many large companies, in pretty much any industry, finance, manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, life sciences, no matter what industry you pick, there are not enough people inside those organizations who have the ability, the motivation, and the incentives to create these skills and deploy these skills. I'm talking about agent skills, which means these skills have to come from vendors and AI startups and AI software vendors who can provide these skills, provide the ability to create these skills and make enterprise software work for large customers, are going to have an outsized opportunity to create value for their customers. Now let's go look at the PowerPoint. Look at what Claude did with that presentation. Um, the Cloud Code interface is also not for someone who is not, so it's not a point and click intuitive interface. You have to have a certain level of understanding, and you also have to understand what you're allowing Claude to do, to be able to build these things. So I'm not going to sugarcoat and say this is easy, anyone can do it. This is possible, but only for those who are willing to put in the effort and willing to learn. So now it has updated the skill. In other words, I've actually modified the skill. I did something simple, like simple as move the logo from left to right, but I could have done many more sophisticated things or detailed things. And then I've asked it to create the presentation again. Yeah. So once the presentation is created, I should be able to open it and see the see the presentation. That the logo should have moved to the right side. Let's see if that happens. Yeah, the logo moved to the right side, 50 pixels from the top. Obviously this is a very rudimentary example, but I wanted to demonstrate that you can control these things very precisely. Font, pixel size, font size, font type, styles, formulas, policy interpretations. So many things. I hope that helps.